Maiden run. I'll take it. I'll take it, man. That little 1800 in there. Full trigger, full trigger, full trigger, full trigger.
Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Welcome back to Ironclad RC. I'm Big B. So we got the J&R Marine 17-inch hydroplane on the block. This is a gel coat and fiberglass micro hydro. We're going to build this boat out start to finish. Okay, it's a builder's kit. It comes with everything you need minus receiver and battery. Okay, it's going to be a long video. I go over the full process, so stick around. Big B, what Ironclad RC. I'm freaking excited, boy. Yes, sir, buddy. I'm freaking ready to go, boy. So basically, you get everything, the whole 9 yards. All right, he's actually already pre-drilled the holes. You can get this boat as just a bare hull. You can get it hull and hardware, almost ready to run with everything installed. I mean, you name it, he'll get it to you. Okay, so let's go over the electronics and kind of some of the hardware real quick, and then we'll get started on it. We got a 40 amp Hobbywing Sea King water cooled ESC, little micro servo, generic. I would use that, you know, if I were building the boat. That's what I use. A 28 35 3300 kV X-Team brushless motor, water cooled, with a nice CNC cut aluminum fiberglass motor mount. Okay, you get a micro strut, a micro rudder, and a micro turn fin. Okay, curved turn fin. I think this is a 2714 TFL prop. He didn't have any servo mounts in stock when he sent me this hull, but I made one. It's just a piece of 1/2 inch plastic, 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, notched it, piece of carbon fiber, and the servo lays down in it. Pretty simple. Some cooling line, a ball head draw rod, 10 shock brand, super nice steering rod there, 10 shock battery tray, fiberglass, and then the through hole bellows and water exit. So it actually says to start with the turn fin, rudder, and strut. Okay, basically that's what we're going to go ahead and mount on the boat. Now, use some adhesive like silicone, some type of sealant when you put this on there so you don't get water intrusion. I got the fin on. I use silicone to mount it, washer and nut on the inside. As you can see, I actually filled the stock mounting holes. They were drilled a little bit too high, my personal opinion. No biggie. I just took some tape, filled the holes from the inside, peeled the tape off, boom, 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 DUN. The reason why we're mounting our hardware first is so we'll have that weight on the boat, and it's part of the equation. Once we start messing around with our setup, you know, putting our servo, motor, ESC, trying to find the prime location for all of our electronics. Everything's already on the boat back here, so it's easier to find your final CG. So basically on a hydroplane, I mean, you want your CG basically on the trailing edge of the turn fin. So on this boat here, about where my finger's at right here, like the trailing edge, this part. So about right there is where we're going to aim for. Okay, got some silicone on my screws, got silicone on the base here. That'll kind of keep it in place. Okay, next step, we need to install our rudder. Okay, so this is our through hole for our steering linkage right here, this big hole. So our steering arm is on the wrong side. We need to move this arm, flip it over. Okay, so basically what you do is you break this Allen here, well, this grub screw loose right there and there. Okay, then you can switch this over. Boom. Okay, So while you're doing that, you may as well put a little drop of Loctite on. Not much. Okay, not much. It don't take much. That screw right there, it strips out. If you ever have to like move it over, which I doubt, but it does, it strips out easy for some reason. Get it good and tight. Okay, while you got the Loctite out, this is the pin. That's what holds the rudder on. So you want to take this screw out, Loctite this screw. It does not have Loctite on it. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, get it good and tight, or you'll lose that pin in there. Okay, get it nice and tight. A lot of times there's a flat spot, but we didn't take the pin out, so it should have been on the flat spot there. So I think that's all you got to do to prep up your rudder. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that on the boat. Silicone and adhesive like we did the turn fin and the strut. Pretty simple. Got the rudder installed. Looks like the through hole for the rudder is drilled perfectly. Okay, so I used some sandpaper on the bellow, roughed it up, I cleaned it up. I got some of that 5-minute epoxy mixed up. I already have some epoxy on the boat, but we're going to go ahead and put some more on here real quick. That should be good. I used the bellow as like a handle because it's hard to get in there. It's hard to get the bellow on there when it's mounted in the boat. So we're going to go ahead and slide this into place. So I'm going to use a Q-tip with alcohol on it to clean all this excess epoxy up. Well, make sure it's like not like angled this way or too much that way. You know, make sure she's kind of straight through the hole. I have mine just a little slant toward the inside of the boat, so I can basically run my servo like right in here somewhere, so I can get to these two screws, you know. So I got it kind of angled just a little bit that way. I got the cable pushed into the coupler. You see how the motor has one angle, the stuffing tube has another, so we need to match that up. And the best way to do it is just grind material off the bottom of the mount. That's going to actually lower the motor in the boat, in return lowering the CG for better handling. Disc sander out there, I'm just going to stick it on the disc sander and let it do its thing, you know. Alright, back from the grinder. Had to go out there a couple times, but I ended up grinding all the holes out. I kind of figured I would. Okay, got her sitting low, baby, low. And I think I still have enough room to throw a 29 series motor in here if I wanted somewhere. So as you can see, I got the angle matched up here. Okay, I'm gonna run mine real close to the stuffing tube so I can get as much of that cable in the collet as I can. More grip. Okay, I roughed up right here, I roughed up here, cleaned it with alcohol, roughed up my mount, you can see that, and I actually took my razor knife and rounded that top rail right there. We're going to get the motor lined up in the hull, make sure it's lined up with the stuffing tube, and then lined up with the stuffing tube this way. Okay, boom, boom, boom. About that much should be good. If you any more gap here, well, I guess you want to tighten this down, because that'll give you, you'll think it's back here, but then when it's all cured out, you tighten it up, you got a big gap. So about right there when it's tightened down. Okay, that looks pretty close. Got my motor about as low as I could possibly get it on the mount. Alright, so I got some epoxy on the servo mount and on the hull. Whenever I put epoxy on anything, I'll kind of brush it in hard, you know, so it gets in all the little nooks and crannies. Alright, so we got our rudder in line with the keel, and we're going to set our servo right where that ball end ends on our servo arm. Boom, boom, boom. Straight up and down position. Okay, boom. I got enough room to get in to my screws to get the servo in and out. Let's go. Let's go. All right, I'm gonna let it cure out. I'll probably get me a little piece of foam, shove in there so it puts some pressure on it. So it's actually the next day. All of our epoxies cured up on our motor mount. Our servo is installed. So now I'm actually working on putting flotation in my sponsons. This is a very important part of a micro build. So I'm just using some open cell foam here. I use my foam cutting knife. I just heat this up and it's like a hot knife through butter. I basically cut 2 or 3 pieces to kind of like pack in there, get it jam packed, and do this before actually it's best to do it before you put your motor mounts in, but definitely do it before you install the motor on the mount. Don't forget this part. Also cut you a piece to fit right here. It's actually a perfect little area for foam to go. So don't forget your flotation. These boats will sink. Foam in my sponsons. It is jam packed with foam. It's like 4 or 5 pieces there. Can't stress how important flotation is in a small boat like this. Okay, very important. All right, so basically I got the servo in. I got the ball head draw rod here. All right, I got Loctite on this scrub screw, Loctite on this scrub screw. Okay, I have Loctite on this nut right here, and that should be ready to go. Okay, so this rod end actually came with the kit. I actually had this fancy little aluminum rod end laying around, so we're going to use that. And the main reason I'm using this rod end versus the plastic rod end, this rod end right here has a little flanged ball. You guys see that little flange on the ball right there? And that flange actually sits perfect in that oversized hole right there, left from the stock connector. I don't know where I put it. Where did I put it? Anyway, the stock connector had an oversized screw, like a 2.5, and the 10 shock ball, this ball actually sits down perfect in that little hole to take the slop out, but this aluminum, it actually works better. Okay, it works better, so we're going to use it. All right. Yeah, definitely. It sits in there perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and put this little 1.5 in there, get it tightened down with a washer on the bottom and some Loctite. So I got the rod end on, plenty of movement there and plenty of throw. We have no slop. That little flanged area sit right in that oversized hole perfectly. Okay, got my washer. I found a locking nut for it, so that's going to be perfect. All right, so now you want to go ahead, pull your grub screw out of this little coupler. You can actually make these from scratch, you know, a little 2mm rod or 1.5, probably 2mm. 2mm is like a common coupler size, you know, 2mm to 2mm with a threaded rod and a couple of rod ends. You can make this little setup from scratch, and it makes setting up your steering, you know, like getting the rudder zeroed out, like so easy. You know, you just make sure your servo's zeroed out, zero out the rudder, and then you just tighten it down, you know, boom boom boom, DUN, done. So we'll finalize all that once we get the motor installed. So I got Loctite on my screw. I'm going to go ahead and get one screw started. Alright, I like using a flex driver for this part. When you have a motor in your boat, you just kind of, flex driver makes everything really simple. It's super easy to get to, you know. Gotta love a flex driver. I got this one at Advanced Auto Parts. It was like $10. Pretty inexpensive tool that really really is a freaking lifesaver. So we're going to loosen that motor up a little bit. We're probably going to have to push it over one way or the other so we can get our coupler on. It kind of slipped my mind when I put this motor in there. When I put Loctite on my motor grub screws, I always put my Loctite in the grub screw hole opposed to putting it on the grub screw. Once I get this grub screw in there, it'll kind of push some of that Loctite onto the motor shaft and kind of lock it in place a little bit better, you know. That's just me. Everybody's different. It does help hold that coupler in place on the shaft though, so it don't like move forward and back, you know. Make sure it's not going the coupler. Make sure it's not going to rub on your washers or anything like that. Boom, boom, boom. Get it good and tight. Now we need to get the motor lined up to the cable here. Okay, so let's get these screws kind of cinched down a little bit here. Okay. Make sure it's dead nut center with that cable, you know. Yeah, forget about centering it in the mount. Center it on the cable. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get this loosened up a little bit. Slide the cable in. Now we can get the angle right. So I got it close. It's not 100% perfect, and that's okay. With these lower power setups, it's completely acceptable. You know, ideally you want it perfectly lined up, and I actually thought I had it perfectly lined up. But it's close enough, trust me. Trust me. Okay. That looks good. Hopefully I don't have you guys zoomed in too much. I zoom you in so you guys can see what I'm doing. You know, it's easier just to kind of set the camera back and just talk and whatever. I actually try to get you in there so you can see what I'm doing. I made me a little Allen wrench here. I just cut the end of it off so I can get these motor mount screws tightened down. So got that done. Okay, basically got the ESC hooked up to the motor. We need to check motor rotation. All the screws are Loctited. That's ready to go. I got the angle set for my motor. Okay, got the servo and the ESC hooked up to the receiver. We're gonna actually power it up real quick and see what everything looks like, sounds like. We actually need to go ahead and get this greased up real quick before we do. And make sure everything's working. We need to double side tape that ESC down. I have some double side tape right here. It's super glue tape. I don't know if it's gonna work or how well it will work. This is the first time actually, you know what, this cable actually feels kind of rough. So I got some 5000 here. Yeah, the cable feels kind of rough, so I'm gonna I got a little bit of grease on there. I'm gonna run this 5000 across my cable a couple times, smooth it out so it don't like wear out that freaking Teflon liner, you know. That was good. Okay, so I wedged this foam at the end here. That stops the grease up, and I slowly work this cable in. And a lot of times grease don't really come out. It just squirted some out though. Designated grease rag. All right. So I'm pulling my cable out. A little bit of oil here. This is air compressor oil. I've actually used chainsaw bar oil, which is what I'm going to use on my TFL Ariane. All right. A little bit of oil in there with some grease. It really just kind of makes it sound smooth, you know. So that oil's probably going to push out, so we're going to try to catch it with this old rag here. Now, when I was waiting for this epoxy to kick off for this servo and motor, I took this 500 and then I used 1,000, but I took it and I went all the way around my seam. You know, when these get pulled out the hull, they just get grinded down, you know. So just take and buff it up with some 500, 1,000 grit, maybe put a little bit of wax on it while you're doing it, and it'll kind of polish it and shine it up just around the seam area, you know. I took some 120 and I shaped up right here, you know. I got a nice shape on it, and then I took that 500 and 1,000 on the seam, so the seam looks much better. All right, got the transmitter powered up there. Let's go ahead and get this 1800 SMC HCL HP flight pack in. Let's go ahead and get this coupler tightened down. Let's check motor direction. Okay, let's change that up. If you have it in reverse, the flex cable will corkscrew grease out. You want the cable to corkscrew grease back, so you make sure it's left counterclockwise rotation. Okay. All right, we got it greased, we got it oiled. First time spooling it up, so it may sound a little rough. Everything feels good. All right, let's check the steering here. Zeroed out. Okay, you guys see what's going on here? See the rudder's cocked. Okay. Okay, I got that rudder zeroed out here. Alright, make sure it's perfectly vertical. Now we got plenty of right throw. You know, so if you don't have enough throw on like one direction, make sure your servo's zeroed out and the rudder is lined up with the keel. You know, that will give you the proper throw left and right. We don't have any binding here on the through hole, it don't look like. So let's go ahead and get the cooling run. ESC first. Okay. I'm gonna leave myself plenty of cooling line. Okay, like so. Got it run behind the servo. Then we're gonna go out the ESC. I'm gonna put this ESC right there. Out the ESC. to the motor. A little extra here. This is the in. The highest point on the motor is the out. Okay, boom, boom, boom. I kind of want to come out. Let's see, where are we going to come out with our exit? Maybe right here? Maybe we'll put it right here. Actually, you know what? That would actually, I'm actually thinking I can actually run my battery all the way forward right here if I need to, because I'm using Velcro, you know. So I don't want to put the exit right here. Let's find a good place for it. Got my water exit in. It's basically in the sponson. Now I actually had to put a spring on it. You guys see the end of that spring? Put a spring on it so it didn't kink coming out the nipple there. Okay, and it was really tough to get the nut, so I have these really long pliers that kind of made easy work of it, and I just pushed that spring up as high as I could on the nipple there, and that should work. I run it under the motor mount, under the motor, and I'm going to cut it a perfect length right here. D-U-N, done. All right, my little snot rocket, she's done, baby. Let's go over it real quick. Okay, got the foam in. That's important. Don't forget the freaking foam. Loctite on everything. Motor installed. The servo is installed. Receiver, it needs some Velcro. I'll get that. Battery, I need to get some battery Velcro as well. Okay, cooling, rudder, through hole, steering, all done. To the ESC, out the ESC, to the motor, out the boat. Okay, I filed a little bit of material off the elongated hole in the strut at the top so I can get the strut dropped down a little bit deeper for more adjustability if we need it. Okay, look real quick with the tune. Turn fin, the bend is basically parallel with the ride surface. Okay, make sure that's parallel. All right, the strut, I basically have it level. It's like a level strut position. All right, I actually think it may do good with a little up angle, you know. We'll see, but I'm gonna start off with it neutral. I level tunnel. I also like to run a little bit higher tunnel in the back, you know, so we don't get as much air packing up under the boat, and she want to blow off the water. So we'll just have to kind of tune it as we run it. I did notice this. The timing on that ESC set at 15. That's actually a pretty high timing. So if you're running into temperature issue with this 40, well, this combination, and you know you want to try to prop up, drop the timing down, maybe 3.75 or 750. If you're running like larger props or heavier batteries, drop the timing. All right, that's important. That 15 will probably blow it up. Okay, they get you. That's how they get you. They set the timing high, you run it, you know, with like a Delta Y motor, boom, you blew up a brand new ESC, and they're like, oh, we don't cover it. Well, damn, they got you because they had the timing set for 15 degrees. You wonder why you blew the damn thing up, you know. So we got the 1800 for speed, and then we'll run the 3S 2200s for runtime with the IXSR, baby. Okay, and we got a handful of props here. I got some Pro Boat, Oxdean. I got an ABC we can try, TFL, ARTR. So we got a bunch of props we play around with. Not all those props are 8th, and not all of them are going to work on this boat, but we do have a couple fast ones that may make this little snot rocket ballistic.
Oh, nice. Cutting a wide turn there. Oh man, it's actually doing pretty good, boys. Let's go. Maiden run. I'll take it. I'll take it, man. That little 1800 in there. Full trigger, full trigger, full trigger, full trigger. Come off for a split second. Oh! Got some cavitation at the start. I guess because it's a 3-blade and it's kind of small for it. Might have some water in the boat. Feels like it. Oh, it's doing good. Should have threw that damn GPS in there. What was I thinking? CG looks good. Doing the cha-cha, baby. Doing the cha-cha. A little screamer. Hopefully the electronics is gonna be cool. I got cooling coming out. A little too damn late to looking for cooling, huh? Not too much cooling, it's just a little trickle. She's getting it, son. Oh man, she is hooking up like the big boy. Doing the cha-cha. Yeah, boy. Oh man, for a maiden, I'll freaking take it, son. Come on, boy. Oh, there's no water in there. Yeah. Oh, we're good. Jockey it in. I'm basically holding full trigger the whole damn time here. Full trigger. Full trigger, full trigger, full trigger in a turn. Probably need to turn that dual rate up a little bit. Come off of it because I started my turn too late. Oh man. I think that's about my battery. Yeah, boy. Damn, I should have brung the 2200s. I thought I was gonna have to wrinkle out some kinks or something, but no. So this is the same exact setup I showed you guys on the setup board in the build video. You know? Oh, that's epic, man. So yeah, maiden run, success. Check that one off the box. Now we got a big 51 to do. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.